Welcome back everyone. Today we're looking at one of my bikes, this Cannondale here. So ever since I bought this, it's had an issue that's been bugging me, and today we're going to look at that and get it resolved. So let's get her in the stand and see what the problem is. So you've seen this one hanging on the wall behind me on the workshop, but today we're going to do some work on this one. It's pretty much an original bike really. I did buy it 3 years ago, just for wall art in the workshop. It's a nice bike. The Red Shred is a classic Cannondale model from the late 80s. I think 89 this one is. But it's got a one part on it, it's not original, bottom bracket. So that's what we're going to look at today. So I'll show you what we're going to do to change that out and how I managed to track down a new bottom bracket, newish. You have to ignore all the paint damage. It's an old Cannondale frame, and if you just look at the paint, it just falls off. So we can't do anything about this. It's corroded underneath the paint. It's corroded underneath everywhere. It's all over the thing. But this bottom bracket is the wrong one. It should be a cup and cone unit, not one of the more modern cartridge units. So we're going to take this out and for a cup and cone bottom bracket, which is more applicable to the era of the bike, 88, 89, and get rid of this thing here. So I didn't buy a bottom bracket. I ended up buying an entire frame with a bottom bracket and a headset. So those of you who might know, the Ridgeback 704 XT back in the day was a real top of the range steel frame bike, it's tan prestige frame. It was full XT, switchblade forks. I put a picture up of one now, this is probably pretty much one of the best ones you'll ever see. I've got no intention of restoring this frame to that bike. I will sell it on and recoup the cost of the bottom bracket basically. So I paid £53 for this frame. That includes an XT bottom bracket and an XT headset, which I don't need. XT headsets sell for around about £50–60. This frame, again, I'll probably sell this for £30–40–50. And the bottom bracket is worth £70–80 if you look around for an XT unit online. They don't exist really. Most of them come from abroad. So even when I've removed this bottom bracket, sell this and sell the headset, I'll be quids in, basically a free bottom bracket. So that's another way of buying parts. Rather than just looking for the one you need, just shop around, and if you know what you're looking for, you can normally find some. So yeah, it's a classic frame back in the day. So first we just need to remove this lock ring without scratching it. It's in really, really good condition, so I'll try and keep it that way. That's not too bad. Get that one out. The fun and games is the fixed cup. See how good that is. I'm hoping this comes out fairly easily. It's been in here 30 years probably. Rather than risking these slipping off and rounding out these nice shiny holes, going to get some penetrant in there and probably get some heat on it, see if we can get it out. Good thing about this is I'm not really too fussed about the condition of the paint on the bike. Like I say, I'll probably end up trying to sell it anyway, but even if I get sort of £30 for it, then it makes this bottom bracket almost free, so that's fine. So let that soak and we'll get some heat on it. So I've got a little battery powered heat gun here. Definitely not part tool. I'll put a sticker on it, so don't go looking for one that don't exist. So let's get some heat on this. If it doesn't work, I've got a mains powered one which gets quite a lot hotter than this, so there's less risk of damage to the paint with this little one though. Let's get it nice and warm. Heat's always your friend when you're trying to get things out that are seized up. I'll just do this for a minute and get it nice and warm. Oh, let's try it again now. It's had some heat. Still feels really tight. Oh, got it. Nice. So heat nearly always helps. If this is tight, I think the fixed cup is going to be ridiculously tight. There you go. We'll get to that in a minute. Technically, I only really need the axle from this. I've got another fixed cup that would do the job fine. But we'll try and get it out. And once it gets going, it's normally not too bad. See, the penetrating fluid did get down there, so it's done its job. All right, here we go. We're out. There's the magic axle that we need. Should be a plastic sleeve in here as well somewhere. But we've got loose bearings in here. They fell out their cage. They should be caged. They're in a pretty sorry state. So spin it around, get the fixed cup out. Gonna get some heat and penetrating oil on this before I even try to remove this. It's gonna be very tight. There's no real access to get lubricant in. There's a couple of slots here you might get a drop in, but it's a bit challenging. So wipe the excess off unless it bursts into flames. Cannondale's going to end up being a wall hanger for the rest of its life anyway, so we're not massively fussed by the condition of this. It just needs to look right, really. It's just been bugging me forever. I knew he's going to ride around on a 35-year-old Cannondale aluminium frame. They didn't have the best reputation back in the day for cracks and whatnot. It'll stay hanging on the wall. I've actually ridden it, to be fair. It's actually really nice. It feels really weird compared to new bikes, but it feels okay. Very small. So when I used to live in Scotland, back in the Midlands in the UK now, but I lived on the side of a mountain basically, so we did a lot of mountain biking up there, and I had a nice Cannondale, a really nice 3 Series frame, which I upgraded with full XTR, Cook's cranks, everything, literally everything you could get back in the day. It was a really nice bike. Had it repainted, sort of milka purple. It was really nice. So I sold it in the end. I think I sold it. I must have broken it into parts and sold the cranks and whatnot, because they went for really good money back in the day. Still do. Cook's cranks still sell for a lot of money. But yeah, I sold that. So when I opened this workshop again, I got myself a couple of older Cannondales, so just really as reminisce and remind me of the old times, really. That's why you've got a Beast of the East hanging on the wall and this Red Shred. So I did a race. I did a Grundig World Cup race, because it was literally in my back garden when I lived in Scotland. So that was 1990, I think. So John Tomac was in that race, Ned Overend, all the 90s big boys were in that race. And then there was me. I think I was last. Taking part that counts, and I finished. My bike made it through, so I don't think that was on the Cannondale. I can't remember. I've got a picture somewhere. I'll put it up if I can find it. I'll put a picture up. So that's basically why the Cannondales are on the wall, really. It's just I say a bit of. I do like retro mountain bikes, and Cannondales seem more appropriate for myself, and that's why they're there. Well, let's get this nice and warm, because this is going to be a nightmare, I know. Fixed cups can be one of the worst bits. Push that, so there's a seal there, just push that through in case it gets too hot. But fixed cups can be really one of the worst bits to get out, apart from obviously seat posts and things like that, which are just the next level. But fixed cups can be challenging because there's so little to hold on to. There is a big expensive VAR tool that you can clamp on here and gives you a good chance of getting it out. Or there's one where you can use a big bolt, and that always gets it out, but I don't really want to risk damaging the internals of the cup. At the moment we're stuck with just a fixed cup spanner, which is always a challenge, because there's so little to grip onto. It can just slip and damage things very easily. And don't forget, it's a left-hand thread on this if you're ever going to try and remove it, so it unscrews the opposite way to what you would think. So we're on a Shimano fixed cup spanner here, nothing particularly special, but it is a proper fixed cup spanner, so it's going to unscrew left-hand thread. You've got to hold it on at the same time though. Yeah, that's just as tight as I thought it would be. So I'm going to put it on like this. I'm going to try and hit the spanner. The problem with this is it's cooling down all the time over here, so I'm going to move very quickly. I think that's moving. Good. So once you break it free, it'll come out no problem. Ball bearings everywhere. We are going to replace these in here, so it's fine. This should be in a cage. I don't think there's much left of it. Yeah, there's the cage. Not much left of that. Hopefully that comes out. And there's the bearings, and there's the plastic sleeve we need to try and get out. Let's get rid of the balls first. Get an Allen key, a really small Allen key, get it all the way through to the other side. And then just basically spin it around like this. I'll cut the seal of anything that's holding it in place. So it should come out now. You can see all the rust in here. It's a good fit still. I don't want to get pliers on it and start pulling it, because it's just going to tear. It's moving now. There you go. There we go. Perfect. That's what I was after. So that's this donor frame done with now. Obviously someone's going to buy this, they'll clean it up, restore it, whatever they want to do with it. I think it's a solid frame. There's some corrosion on this chainstay, but it doesn't feel particularly bad. I think that'll clean up, but that's probably the worst bit on the frame. Let's go back to the Cannondale. First things first, obviously get the cranks off. These are Biopace HP. This is a slightly later generation Biopace where they went slightly less overlised. And we need to get this steel cap out. These steel caps are £20 a pair. I don't know if they're steel or actually plastic covered in, but they're just ridiculous price as well. So try and get these out in one piece. So using a Shimano spanner special tool here. It's designed for chain rings, but on the other end has these two prongs, which is designed for this. So they just clip in here and should unscrew. Shouldn't be very tight. They've not been in nail long. There you go. Most of them that you buy have just been torn to pieces. These are in not bad condition. Yeah, they're only plastic, I think. £20 a pair. Bargain. Yeah, just painted plastic. Chromed, whatever. Get the other one out. Yeah, crank bolt next. I use air tools pretty much for all crank bolts and stuff. It just saves you so much time. So much time. Look at that. It's like instant, no effort at all. So I did a video on power tools on bikes, but for some reason nobody's watched it. I don't know why. It's a good video. Can be massively time saving. I'll put a link below. Check it out. But there's some ideas in there. I know a lot of people are a bit scared of it, but if you know what you're doing, then and you're super careful. The key to it is knowing when to risk it and when not to risk it. But something like this bottom bracket, that might be a bit of a risk because I say the state of the frame, but you know, I'm going to probably use it anyway because it just saves so much time. Right, so this is a far more modern bottom bracket than the bike deserves. That's why we're taking it out. Nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. It's a perfectly good bottom bracket. It's just not appropriate for this frame. That's the whole reason we're doing this job. Right, let's get the other one out. Good old Dior. I love this. This is that's 100% my favourite generation of Shimano components. That's sort of 88, 89, 90, 91. Amazing stuff. You know, technology-wise, it's probably a bit rubbish compared to what you get today, but it's just absolutely solid stuff. You know, a lot of people. Still a good, strong demand for good condition components on these. Right, that's off. Right, we're using this. Decided. Done. You can see how easy that is. I mean, God, you'd be there 5 minutes with a spanner. Flip it around, get the tricky one out. Still left-hand thread, so we just swap the driver over. No effort whatsoever. That's proper rubbish. SR Suntour, cheap rubbish. Wow. For use only with cross-country. I'm even more glad I changed it out now because this is so totally wrong for the bike. So good, it's going to get what it needs. So now we're going to clean up that new bottom bracket and get it fitted in here. So we've got the axle, obviously, adjustable cup, fixed cup with this rubbish bearing in it. So that comes out no problem actually. I'm hoping this cleans up fairly well. Like I say, it's never going to be ridden, but let's try and get it half decent. I've got some bearings here. I don't think they're the right ones. Maybe try this. Yeah, they're too small. Let me see what else I've got. Should have some other ones. There you go. That's the right ones this time. Good. Let's just check they fit. Yeah, perfect. Good. So we've got no bearings. We don't need to worry about those. These can go for sure. I'm going to clean this up. I don't think we're going to use this one. Onto the recycling. Clean the bulk of the grease off here because the ultrasonic's not going to get this off. And then see what it looks like. I'm hoping it says Shimano on it somewhere. Yep, good. Keep this seal. That needs to just press back into the fixed cup. Give them a good blast of degreaser first. I say ultrasonics are good, but they're not miracle machines. They're not going to get everything off. They'll get all this rubbish out quite nicely there. Again, I'm not really too concerned by wear on this because it's not going to be ridden. It just needs to look better. But hopefully we can get it half decent because I'm not going to spend more time tracking down another unit. That's for sure. Yeah, it's a pretty sorry state in here, but we'll see how it looks like after it's had a good scrub. Actually, not too bad. Definitely some wear in there, but it doesn't matter. This will probably hang on this wall for the next 10 years, so it really doesn't matter as long as it looks good. Which is a strange restoration process, I know, but at least it's getting something. Right, let's bang this in the ultrasonic. Okay, that's shrunk. I've got a spare. Well, they've cleaned up not too bad. So that's the axle's the important bit. It's got to be the right size. A 122mm on this one. There is definitely some corrosion in these cups, but like I say, it really doesn't matter for its intended purpose. There's some new bearings in there. It's going to work fine. The spare seal on the fixed cup now as well. Okay, let's get this fitted. Plenty of grease in here. Like I say, it's definitely never coming out again. But let's get the job done properly. Always grease these because you can say some of them can be massively challenging to get out. Let's get this sleeve in. That was an easier fit than it came out on the other one. Going to put some grease in this fixed cup. It's a bit easier to do rather than when it's fitted on the bearings. Shimano premium grease on this one. Alright, so just drop the bearing in there. This can go back in the frame. Don't forget left hand thread. Get this tight. So push that on nice and flat. It's just so easy for this to slip off. It's pretty rubbish design really, but it gets the job done. Right, that's in. Just get the axle in. Again, just some grease in this cup. Screw it in. It already looks better. You see how much easier modern bottom brackets are to fit, even press fit, they're so easy. With the right tools, obviously. You can get these things to run super smoothly though, even when they are nice and shiny races. This is never going to be perfect because there's a bit of wear on the races, obviously, but you can get them to run beautifully smooth. Just back that off. So you just got to adjust this. It's the adjustable cups, literally clues in the name. So you adjust that so the pressures, so you've got no rock in the shaft, but you can still spin the bearings. Still feels a bit graunchy, but it's not bad there. Put the lock ring on. There is a taper on this lock ring, so it just chamfers off towards the frame, makes it look nicer. Right, so now we need to just hold this adjustable cup while we tighten that lock ring up. You just got to get this basically balanced really, because when you obviously turn this lock ring, it turns the adjustable cup with it. So it's just a matter of holding that in place. Super fiddly these are, honestly. They just slip off so easily. Like that. And they just damage the paint. That's not fun, this. You can just hammer these around with a screwdriver and hammer if you don't have a C-spanner like this, but it's a bit sketchy. That's as tight as that needs to be. Clean off excess grease. That's okay. Good. Put a bit of grease on your tapers. Some argue you don't, some argue you do. I always do. I've done for 30 years. Never broken a crank or had one fall off yet, so must be doing something right. Left hand crank back on. I'm not going to use the impact drive on this. I'm going to do this by hand. It's a pretty old crank, so there's potentially a risk of it splitting. I think it's exceptionally unlikely, but just be a bit more careful on older stuff. Going to 40 on this, 40 Newton meters. Okay, and just refit the world's most expensive piece of plastic. Just putting some grease on this, just so it doesn't get stuck. So rubbish. You look for some of these, some of them are just in such bad condition, but people still buy them. I tried to line them up as well. I'm not going to go get another 90 out of that yet. Just going to line it up with a crank. Good. Nice. This chain says Bible on it. Interesting. Get this on. When you use a torque wrench, don't try and torque it from here or something daft. You always need to hold the actual handle itself and let the leverage work out properly then. Makes sense. Done. The cap. This is done then. We'll go through the rest of the bike then and show you a few interesting bits from back in the day. Most of you will be sitting there laughing going, what the hell is this pile of rubbish? But this is cutting edge back in the day. Okay, so that looks a lot better now. Proper bottom bracket on there. Beautiful. Right, so let's go through these gears. Like I said, it's been on the wall 2 years, so get a bit of a tune. So we've got thumb shifters on this bike and a very short arm rear derailleur, DO-DX. DO2, I think this one was officially called. One click on the thumb shifter, not quite up. A little bit more tension on there. Bit more still it's on this, should be on here, but it's dropping down to this one, so it needs more tension. I've got one on the thumb shifter as well. Just give that a bit more. And up to the top. Still not happy. Oh, this cable's frayed, that's why. The reason that's not working is got a frayed cable. Let's get this changed. So let's just cut this off. This would be the easiest bike in the world to fit a new cable, and I'll show you in a minute. So easy. Cut that off, undo this, it will just drop down. Just pedal that and it will pull itself automatically down to this smallish sprocket like that. Pull this cable out. It's a right mess, look at that. Oh, wasn't me. I bought it like this. I'm going to try and retain the old cable. It looks nicer than the newer stuff. So I'm going to screw this barrel adjuster all the way in because it's pretty much maxed out now. The derailleur's in lovely condition. Just go back out a couple of turns, give you some adjustment. So on a thumb shifter, you literally just push it and it comes out the front there. I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that. So just not going to pull this all the way through because that frayed cable. So I'm going to cut it here and pull it back out the other way. That's the old one out. You can see the damage on that cable there. Got a barrel adjuster on here as well. Again, we're going to screw that in and out a couple. This is an older shifter, 7-speed. These used to be just the best. You get DO or DRXT. They were very, very similar shifters. And the beauty of this one is you had SIS to friction mode. So there's a lever here. You click that forward to there and it gives you friction. So there's no indexing. So the idea of that is if you've damaged your derailleur or something's really gone wrong at the back, flick that to friction and you can get yourself home. You can basically just very gently tweak it until you're in a gear at the back. So you don't get this anymore. Back to indexing. So a new cable just literally threads straight through. Alright, then we're getting used again, but we're putting a good cable on. This is a stainless steel die drawing which I use for pretty much most things that are premium. I have galvanised cables which go into kids' bikes that are only going to use for a year or so, but most things get stainless. Die drawn means it's much more compressed. I'll show you a picture. It means it's a slicker cable. And this just literally pulls through here. Click that back down to 7th. So you see this liner here, this is a Jaguar. It doesn't really look right on the bike, but I don't have anything more appropriate other than plain black. So for now, it can stay. It may get changed at some point if I can get an original 89 cable set, which I should be able to. Pay stupid prices for. I'll just thread that in there. So it doesn't fit that very well. That's the other problem when you change to newer stuff. It doesn't sit in this housing very well. I think the older ones were probably a bit fatter than this. This has been fitted with the cables crossed underneath the down tube. I don't like doing it like that, but that's how it came. I don't really want to start undoing the front at the same time, so I'll stay like this. It still works. The idea of that is basically it keeps the housing away from the frame, then it bends the cable at a different angle so it doesn't start rubbing on the frame. So it does make sense, but I just don't like it. Thread this back through here, through the derailleur. It's almost like a brake cable housing, but it is SIS, so that's the difference. That's why that front one's not fitting particularly well. Screws behind there on this one. Oh, we've got 2 barrel adjusters here, so we can tighten this up. We'll easily be able to accommodate any adjustment. Normally I would recommend just slightly tightening it, going through the gears and then repositioning it, but this one we've got plenty of adjustment on 2 of these. Let's just trim this. That's on. Let's go through these gears now, see if they're behaving a bit more. Up 1 gear. This derailleur, that's the high limit screw's not quite right still. Yeah, this needs to come way in. You can hear that just rubbing. I've never serviced this bike. I bought it like this and just hung it straight on the wall, so I've never actually done anything to it apart from today. So this high limit screw needs to go in because it's running off this bottom sprocket here. So let's quieten that down. Just check from the back and it is perfectly in line now. Probably a bit too much slack now because I've just done that, so we'll just take up a little bit. Just looking for a bit of a sort of a little bit of tension in there. Let's try that. Not bad. And then that back down. Tiny bit of noise there. Just figure out which way it is. You can just push the derailleur, see if it shifts up or gets quieter, or pull it towards you and see if it gets quieter, and you can work out if you need less or more tension. So I'm going to pull it now. You can see that's dropping down. So it needs more tension. Push that now, very, very, very gently. It goes quiet. So we know we need a bit more tension. I'll just give that sort of 2 turns on there, and that should quieten that down. Up to that top one. So this low limit screw's not right either. So that's more than enough tension to get up there, but it doesn't want to stay on there because this low limit screw's not right either. So we're just going to back that out half a turn. Only needs a bit, like that. That should stay up there now, hopefully. Yeah, it's a bit happier. Tiny bit of noise there still, so I'm going to push this, see if it will go further. It won't, and it goes quieter, so I'm going to open that up a bit more. That's 1 full turn that's had now altogether. Back down to the bottom. That's nice. That noise you can hear now is the front derailleur rubbing on the cage because that's a friction shifter. A tiny bit more on that. Okay, so the interesting thing about this, you might have noticed, is there's no replaceable dropout on this. It's an aluminium frame, so if you bend this, bend that, bend this, you've written your bike off. Nice. So that's when they've changed. I think the next year after this, when they went to the 3 Series frame, they've changed to a replaceable dropout hanger to prevent that really. So it's a major problem on the older aluminium frames. If you have a big crash and you bend this, because it's aluminium, you know you can't really bend it back. It work hardens, it snaps, it's brittle. You might get away with one sort of straighten if it's only slightly bent, but generally speaking, you've written your frame off if you have a big stack on this. So very rapidly they changed that design and went to replaceable hangers, thankfully. So this is the other Cannondale you see up there, is the Beast of the East. This is the 3 Series frame when they did fit replaceable dropouts. So that was the end of that problem. I might have a look at this bike at some point as well. It's a nice bike. It's got some nice purple anodized parts. Original flight saddle. Again, it's on thumb shifters. Pepperoni forks. LX cranks on. Mostly an LX group set on this. It does have some interesting wheels. It's got Maverick 217 Sunset rims. DT Swiss Hugi hubs. Hugi or Hugi? Tell me how to pronounce it. I'm not sure. Never have been sure. But these are really nice hubs. Nice and very loud. Not the original wheels on this. This is a Saracen rim on here. It's the right colour, but it's the wrong rim. Again, I might keep an eye out for the correct rims on this one. They are Dior hubs, but incorrect rims. Right colour, wrong rims. Got some genuine Tioga tyres on here. Actually in reasonable condition for an amber wall tyre. You always get this bit of sort of perish in here. But when they start to literally fall to pieces, yeah, it doesn't matter again for a wall hanger. It's totally irrelevant. Turbo saddle. So this date stamp here tells you the year of the saddle. So people are pretty keen to get the correct year for the bike. As I say, they made the turbo for many, many years, but if I can try and get one for the correct year. Genuine strong seat post on this bike, which is a bit more challenging to get hold of. It's onto a quick release lever again. I've replaced that because it was the wrong one before. And we've got these things here, U-brakes. A lot of people want to see U-brakes. Bit of a pain to set up again. These are actually working quite nicely. So the U-brake is kind of just a caliper, it's a twin pivot. There's 2 bolts here and here. It's basically a caliper brake that pulls these 2 arms. Quite a clever design. The main issue with this is mud clearance. You tend to get a lot of mud build up in here, and it causes you issues. You couldn't do any wheel. The power wise, actually pretty good. It's got a booster on here, which basically is a metal plate, just boosts the brake to stop the pivot points sort of flexing out under the power of the brake. So that was a sort of an upgrade that Shimano did. This is the U2. Nice brake, working well. So on the front we've got 2 finger brake levers. SLR Shimano linear response. Again, the index and friction shifter. Good old foam grips. These are sort of grab-on replicas. I don't know what these are, but they feel period correct. It's got the genuine Tioga T-bone stem. This bar's incorrect. There should be a white handlebar on this bike. You know, I keep thinking about it, but I just think it's going to look so rubbish. So I'm still in 2 minds whether to change that or not. On the front, we've got cantilevers. These are the Shimano cantilevers, but these are before they went to a sort of low-profile design. So they stick right out on the fork. So yeah, these are pretty old. Still work. Work well. Get the cobwebs off them. Another Wonder Dog tyre on the front. I don't think it's a front. Some of these tyres were front and rear specific, but the market for old amber wall tyres that are still usable is so small now, and most of them are perished. I'll just grab a pair that looks period correct. Again, it's a wall hanger. It doesn't matter if it's a front or a rear tyre. It just needs to look period correct, which it does. Again, the incorrect rim on the front, so that's totally the wrong rim. Sakai Low Fat MPT 126. The correct pedals with the old Christoph toe clips on there. Things have changed so much with clipless pedals, etc. But yeah, they still work, and they're correct. So the Red Shred is a high bottom bracket frame design that came out with. It's different to the rest of the Cannondales of this era. It's a much higher bottom bracket for sort of increased ground clearance if you're going over logs, etc. was the idea. So 88 is the one I really, really wanted. I'll show you a picture of it. It's got different graphics on it and a fatter down tube, but they're pretty much impossible to get. I will probably at some point end up changing to get one as well as this, but this is a nice alternative. Bottle mounts just down here. You used to put a bottle cage down here just so you can purely cover it in mud. Brilliant idea. Again, on the front it's a friction shifter, so there's no indexing. You're literally just pushing the lever until it goes up. You can see the bi-pace effect on this ring here, the ovalization of it. Not adjusted very well either. This should be dropped way down by now. So I'm going to open up this lower limit screw. I can work out which one it is. Never presume this is the low and this is the high, because quite often they're reversed. Yeah, this is the low on this one. That's going down. That's it. Put it up to this largest sprocket at the back. That clears that then nicely. Quite obvious ovalization on this one, you can see it. This is the HP one, so the older Biopace were even more ovalised than this. It's working alright actually. There's still a very, very strong market for retro bikes, and I know you guys like watching them, and it's my favourite bike to work on by a long way. So just a little quick job on this one. It's never going to move. It's literally hanging back in this space behind me for the rest of its life, but I'm happy now. I know it's got the right bottom bracket, and that's the important thing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Little bits and pieces. If you want to see anything else on the other retro ones that we've got, we can certainly go through those, not a problem. Always looking for sort of donors as well. If someone local to me in the Midlands, UK, wants to get their bike featured, something retro and interesting, I'm more than happy to do that, sort something out, get some good content for the channel. And the channel's growing really well now, so I can only thank each and every one of you that's subscribed so far, and let's just keep it up and see where we get to. But thanks for watching.